Hello everyone, my name is Clifton Butt and I want to give you a brief overview of Google Classroom today and sort of provide a testimonial for what it can also do in the classroom. So my goal is to give you a basic understanding, but one thing I do want you to understand is that this is how I use it. Now I'm a high school English teacher, so the way I use Google Classroom is probably going to be very different from the way a high school science teacher uses it. But I think if you watch this video, you're going to understand the capabilities of Google Classroom and be able to modify it to fit your own purposes. So what I'm going to do today is just give a brief overview of setting up a class, adding students, creating an assignment, student completing an assignment, and then grading and returning it to that student. It's a pretty simple process, and I'm not going to go into too many details here. There's a lot of very cool things that Google Classroom can do, and you should really just explore with those. But I'm hoping with this video you're going to be able to sort of understand the capabilities and know what you might be able to bring to your own classroom with this tool. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and pull up my own Google account, and I already have a tab open, but I'll just say to get to Google Classroom you just need to go to classroom.google.com. And if you haven't set this up already, it's going to ask you if you're a student or a teacher. If you're a teacher, you must click teacher and make sure that you're given the role of a teacher. Otherwise, I don't even know how to restart that. So make sure you say teacher. But here you can see all my different classes. I have a lot of different classes set up already. I have old test classes. I have all sorts of stuff. And I actually have mine in different sections. I teach English 2 and English 4, so I have my sections of English 2 and my sections of English 4 and then one section of English composition. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a new class. We're just going to go ahead and I could even join a class as a teacher, which is pretty cool, but I'm just going to go ahead and create a class. I'm just going to call this test class 2. This is not the first take of this video, so I'm going to go ahead and say test class 2 and create. And this is going to create the class for us, and it's going to give us a lot of cool tools to work with. Alright, so here's test class 2. Of course, you can see I'm the teacher. I'm the one up here at the top. I have the stream, students, and about. The about section, you can add some things. You can see where the file folder is, where everything's going to be there. You can invite a co-teacher. You could add other materials like a syllabus, all that stuff. The students, this is where you can invite students by email. You can also give them a code to join the class. If you tell them to go to classroom.google.com, they can use this code to join your class. And so that's what we're going to do. So I'm actually going to copy this real quick. But this is where the stream is. This is where everything really sort of goes down. You see this upcoming assignments. It alerts you to upcoming assignments that you've posted that are going to be due. There you go. Also showing deleted items. If we can just start the tour, we can either post announcements or we can post assignments to the stream. There's the class code. You can also invite students there. This is pretty simple. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a fake student email. I have a fake student email. I have a student called William Maxwell. And so I've already opened Google Classroom in a new tab, and I copied that code earlier. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug this in, and he's going to join this class. Join. All right, so good. William has joined the class. Of course, there's nothing here yet, but notice his is a little bit different than mine. There's some things that he can't see. He can see who is in the class, and he can see that about section where there's all those different items provided if I've provided them. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back over to my teacher account, run over a few more things. So one cool thing is you can select a theme or you can upload your own photo. I think that's pretty nice. You have a gallery, you have patterns, so that's really cool. A little customization. What I like to do is last year I took classes of work that we were doing as a class and then uploaded those. That was kind of a nice personal touch for the class if you want to get into that. But what really is the heart of this is the stream and your announcements and your assignments. Announcements and assignments, they're roughly similar, except assignments are actually provide the opportunity for students to turn work into you. So for an announcement, it looks like this. Hey everyone, welcome. All right, so there's your announcement. You could add more. You can go down a line. I usually have a title and then some other blah, blah, blah as we go along. You can also attach documents and files, right? You can attach a file from your computer. I'm always just using stuff from my drive though, right? So you just click right there. You have stuff from my drive. Now, with an announcement, what's important to remember is that any document that you do attach, it retains its original permissions that you set with that document. So if you say that anyone can edit, then you're going to have anyone can edit. You're going to want to set a permission that they can only view that. All right. You can also attach YouTube videos. That's kind of a neat thing. You can also attach links to tell them to go somewhere. That's pretty awesome. You also notice that it says draft save. So one of the newer features of Google Classroom is that you can create things ahead of time and only post them as needed, which is awesome. You can also select other classes. So if I like to set up my classes individually by section, so you can create an announcement and then you can select every class that you want it to be applied to, which saves a lot of time, and it's awesome. But once you post this is just a fake announcement. Once you post that announcement, it gets posted to the stream, so there it lives there. Students can add comments to it, but students also get an email. So I'm going to go and jump back over to my student view. He doesn't have an announcement yet. This isn't refreshed, but if I go back to the email, you'll notice he gets an email from me with the announcement title or with the first little bit of the announcement, and he can just go and open that up in Google Classroom. All right, so this is great for students. They're attached to their phones. They get these little dings. They can go into Google Classroom and see what there is. And yes, there is a Google Classroom app available on, I think, Android and iOS now, which is great. My students like to keep up to date with that. But they can read this announcement, which is awesome. But what I'm really more interested in is the assignments. The way Google Classroom allows you to post assignments and allows students to complete those and to move from there. So I'm going to move back over to my teacher view. I know that gets a little confusing, but I'm in my teacher view now, and I'm going to go ahead and create an assignment. Now, the title of this assignment, and this is going to be, I'm just going to give an example of the one that I use week in and week out. This is something we do every week. So this is going to be English 2 AOW Article of the Week 15. Now, you can also give descriptions. This is where I give a few directions, right? Write a 2-paragraph reflection, and actually I write pretty extensive directions about when to submit it and yada yada yada. All right, but you have a due date. You have June 18th, right? So it gives you that automatic. It sets up for tomorrow. You could set this up from a week from now, and you can also add a time. You can add a very specific time, so that if it's due by the beginning of the hour, you put it by the beginning of the hour, right? So you can't. If you do that, you have to go back and change it by sections, but that's no big deal. All right, so what's really cool, though, is the ability to attach files. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and open up my Google Drive, and I'm going to show you some things. I'm going to have to dig deep because I've kind of been reorganizing some things. But I've opened this AOW up. I keep all these different files that I've created, because what you can do is you can create templates. And I'll show you how that works in a second. So what I've done, I'm going to go down a little bit. English 2 AOW 15. The first thing that I have is I have a PDF of the article that they were supposed to read. So I'm going to open that up. All right, now I've opened that up. I've attached this to this assignment. So I can give them permission. Students can view the file, edit, or make a copy for each student. This is a PDF that they need to read. Students just need to be able to read this and or print it off if need be. All right, so they can read that. Now I'm going to go back and attach another one. I'm going to go all the way back. I know this is kind of slow. Should have thought about that before I started this video. Sorry. So I'm going to go all the way back. Now what I've done is I have English AOW 15, and I had to type a B, reflection. Now if I open this up, what this is it's just a blank document. This is something that students can type in. All right, so it says students can view file, but this is the cool thing. I don't want students can edit the file. I don't want them to be able to view it. I don't want them to be able to edit it. They don't need to edit it because then they'd all be typing in the same document. I want to create a copy for each student. So this will create a copy on their Google Drive for each student, right? So this is awesome because it allows them to keep their work individualized. Now if I say, I'm going to go ahead and say assign, and this will be posted to the stream, and our fake student William Maxwell will get an email. So you'll notice that up here it says the due date. It also says how many students have completed it, right? You can also go back. If you mess something up, you can go and edit it. I do that all the time because I always make a mistake or 10. So I'm going to go and jump back over to William Maxwell's Google Classroom. We'll actually just go back to his email, and you'll see new assignment. He should be, if he has it set up on his phone, he'll get an email, new assignment. He'll get the title. He'll also get the directions right in here. I encourage my students just to actually kind of view this. It makes a little bit more sense looking at this in Google Classroom. So here are the assignment details, if my internet will work. All right, so this is the assignment details. Now this is confusing because what you're going to notice is it doesn't have his work on that. That's kind of where this Your Work tab is. But he can access the article that I've assigned from here, so he can look at that and read that if he needs to or print it off, right? But if he clicks on the Your Work tab, what he's going to see is that he's going to have this little document already created for him. You can create assignments where you don't create a copy for students. They have to add their own Google files or to it. You can do that. I like to create these templates because the coolest thing about these templates is it gives the name of the assignment, it gives a dash, and their last name, which is tremendously helpful when you're trying to find all these in Google Drive because they oftentimes don't remember to add their name to the files that they send you. So this is awesome. So if William opens this up, what he's going to see is, of course, I just attached a blank document. So he's going to see this, and now he owns this blank document, and he can do what he needs to do. So what I require them to do is write a reflection. So my reflection is written. Okay, now, so he's done. When he's done, all he has to do is say turn in. All right, once he says turn in, the person who owns... Okay, next, I guess this is taking... I didn't expect this to happen. All right, so it's kind of going through this. Yeah, this is awesome. I got it. We're good to go. All right, so he's going to see. He sees the file that he's about to turn in. He can attach a private note if need be, if he wants you to see something. But once he says turn in, he no longer can open that document and work on it. You'll notice that it changes into a view-only mode. Right? He cannot do anything here. I don't know if you can hear me tapping on my keyboard or not, but he can't do anything. The owner of that document is now me. So that's awesome because that way they can't share something, and this is, I've had students do this, they can't share something with you and then go back and surreptitiously complete it later before I've graded it. All right, so I'm the owner of that document now, which is great. But what he can do, let's say he makes a mistake. Oh man, I forgot to write the second paragraph. I forgot to do this. I forgot to do that. He can go ahead and click submit. He'll say he can add a private note if he wants to there as well, a reason why he submitted it. Right now that he's unsubmitted it, he can open it back up and he's going to be able to edit it as he needs to be. All right, so he finishes, he turns it in again. I want to show you, and of course it keeps opening up new tabs, but he turns it in. Now I'm again in charge of this, and this is in my possession. So I'm going to go ahead and flip back over to the teacher view. All right, so you'll see that this has gone from 0 done to 1 done. All right, so if you click on this, you're going to be taken to your entire classes, and it'll have every student here. It'll have all their stuff. Now, this is how this is where you put in grades. So the first thing I want to cover is the points. Now, they have set point values. It could even be ungraded. But what I do always, I like to grade assignments that have 30 points. I can update the point value, no big deal. You can type in 27, 77, however many points you want. Now, I click on this, I click on his name, and I see the work that he's attached. So, I open up his work. Now, what I do is, of course, I own this. I can edit it. I can make changes directly to this. All right, that's great. But what I do is I always switch over, and you can see that William's still looking at it. I always switch over to the suggesting mode, and I just make comments. So let's say he needed to capitalize the E, right? I do that, replace E with E. So he sees these comments. It's similar to Microsoft Word's track changes. I really think that this is one of the coolest features ever, especially as an English teacher, and I think it's really helpful. You can also just add comments, like you can select text, you can right-click, say make a comment, or use the keyboard shortcut, and you could say this is wrong, -10. All right, whatever. Then he has the comments. He knows what he did wrong. He has feedback, and this feedback, of course, is instant. William is technically looking at this right now. I can switch back over to William if I want to, and he's already seeing. I'm actually in my teacher view, but if I switch back over to William, he could open this document up, and he could see these comments as they happen. Right, this is live, which is awesome. Actually, I haven't returned it to him, so he doesn't see the comments. I spoke too soon. I'm sorry about that. But he knows that I'm working on this. He can see me there. He can see me editing it. So I'm going to jump back over to the teacher view. All right, so let's say I've got this done. I actually always leave a comment here and say that this is a 20 out of a 30. I always grade it there just to remind myself. But I can just close his out. I come back over. I put in his grade, 20 out of 30. And then I just return it to him. Now, I can also add more feedback, a little private note to him if I want. But whenever I return it to him, he gets the file back. He also gets his grade in the form of an email. So if he comes back over here, he goes to his email. I'm going to go back to the inbox. It says Clifton assignment returned, grade 20 out of 30. All right, that's awesome. Now, there are a couple problems with this. First of all, some students don't like getting so many emails, so I will say that they can unsubscribe. You also, one thing I'm thinking about doing is is leaving files as ungraded and actually forcing them to go look at the feedback, because most students, they just look at the grade and they're like, I don't care why I got a 20 out of 30, it doesn't matter. That's actually passing. That's a 66, so I'm good. So you might try to play with that. And I also would say that you can play with templates. So you could create a document. If I'm jumping back over, you could create a document. Let me just do it real quick while I'm here, just to show you what I'm thinking. You could create a document. And you could actually have questions here, like number one. What is a mammal? All right. So this would be a template. Now the student would get this, and you can make a copy of this document for them. So they would just hit enter. They could then answer if you want. I'd actually not use a number. What is a mammal? I'd put my question in bold. Then they could just answer underneath it in regular font, move on to the next question, etc. That could just be a template. So there's lots of options. I hope that you see kind of the utility of this, and this video is already running long, but there's so much more I want to show you. I just hope that you're beginning to see how useful this can be in the classroom and how awesome it is to be able to share things like this and work with your students in a digital environment. So I hope you use Google Classroom. If you have any questions, please, please, please contact me. I'm more than willing to help you out and figure out how to best use this in your environment. Thank you.